Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I will be completely honest, I was struggling to come up with an idea for what I wanted to do today. So I was just kind of looking around and looking for inspiration, and coincidentally, I was looking in my room. I'll show you what I saw. In my windowsill here, I have these like jellycat plant stuffies, and I have more little ones over here that I love so much. And I just kind of thought to myself that it might be a fun idea to try and crochet some plants, because if you're like me, I have the opposite of a green thumb. I have like a black thumb, so basically everything I try to grow and keep alive dies. So for me, the perfect solution is like a little stuffed plant, but I think it would be fun for me to try and make like a crocheted one, you know? My inspiration is this one, because this is my, not that I ever have favorites, but this is kind of my favorite out of them. And I think it's just a really cool shape. Obviously, I don't think it'll be as dramatic as this, but I think it'll be a fun challenge and I want to test myself, and you're just going to come along for the process and hopefully it turns out cute, because otherwise that's kind of embarrassing. The first order of business is pot color and plant color, which if you saw my last video, you would know this lovely creation is the yarn bin. It's full of just a bunch of my yarn. So typically the jellycats tend to be like a dark gray to a light gray color. And unfortunately, I don't have a light gray. I do have this darker gray, which I do like the idea of. I have fully like a beige. I also have white, so that is an option, but I don't necessarily want to get it dirty. I have this, which is kind of a cool color. It's like kind of between a gray and a beige. I found the safety eyes that I was looking for. I have like a dark gray, which I don't think is my favorite, so I'm gonna put it back. This color would have been perfect. It's like perfectly gray, but I don't think I have enough to make a whole pot. Those are all the colors that I found for shades of grayish brownish that I would do for my pot color. I do have the brown to make the little feet, which I think is a necessity for anything. And then in terms of plant, obviously I want to do green because it is a plant. So I have like this one, like a, I don't know, shades of green, like army green, I would say. I have neon green chartreuse, I believe, which is definitely gonna be a hard pass. I think, no offense to the chartreuse fans, but it's not a color that I like to look at. I thought I had dark green, but it seems like I might not. I have like a mix of greens. Again, not my favorite. We have this green, which I do like the color of. It's like, I really don't know. It's another shade of green. We'll give it that title. I do not have very much, so I'm gonna see if I have another ball of it hidden in my secondary stash. I have checked the secondary yarn bin, which contains finished stuff, random objects, and more yarn, and there's still no dark green, so we're going to the final place that I can look, which is my super secret under my bed bins. I have a couple of these, so we're gonna figure out which one the green is in. Ignore the lighting down here, but we're gonna find this green eventually. Oh, this one just has one ball of yarn in it. It is technically a shade of green, but I don't think it's the one I'm going for. This one has blues and browns, so not quite what I'm looking for, but they are very nice colors. I do like them. I think this might be the one. Please be the one. Oh, no. This one is white, gray, black, white and black, and you cannot see that, but browny brown color? This is actually a nice color. I'm taking this out. Maybe I'll use that for a pot. That's like teddy bear color, in my opinion. I'm gonna use that now. Different angle. I don't think you've ever seen this side of my room. We have bin number 4, which has even weirder colors. We have brown with chunks in it. We have this interesting combination, and we have this. None of which are quite what I'm looking for. Well, thank you for joining me on that journey. From that, I found out I actually don't have any green. I just have this little bit of it. So we're gonna unfortunately say no to that color because there's just not enough. So it's currently a toss-up between these two. And while I do kind of like this color better, this one is kind of easier to work with. I don't know, we'll pick a pot color first because I'm indecisive. So we have our feet color. So this is set. So we know it needs to look good with this. This ball too small, we're getting rid of it. So we have dark gray, which I do really like. I think it's really nice and it will kind of match the other ones pretty well. We have the beige, which is not my favorite. So if it's not my favorite, I'm gonna eliminate it because we're being decisive today. And then we have these two other shades of brown. Between them, this one's kind of a nicer shade, I feel like. Actually, this one's closer to the gray. So we're gonna go with this. Between these two, honestly, I think I prefer the dark gray because otherwise it's just too much brown shades going on, and I feel like this gray is better contrast with the green. Normally, I don't have this many thoughts when I'm crocheting. I just pick random colors, so this is kind of a different experience for me. With these two, we now have either this green. I really like this combination. I think it's really cute. Or we have this green. Ooh. I think I'm gonna go with this green just because there's more to work with. So if I mess up, I know that I will have enough. And also it is easier to work with. And since I'm making something not from a pattern, I don't totally know how it's gonna go. So I think it's the safest choice to use the yarn that I prefer. Final color scheme, we have brown, dark gray, and this army green color. And I'm happy with it. Now to get what you've probably clicked on this video for, the actual crocheting process. So I think I'm definitely gonna start with the pot because I have made a couple other kinds of plants before and a pot's pretty simple. It's a circle and then you just go up and make it taller. As with 99% of the things I've ever crocheted, I am starting with a big circle. So this is gonna be the bottom of our pot. I did 32 stitches around and I'm feeling like this is a good size. Like I'm happy with it being this big. Now I'm starting to build up the sides and I'm also gonna cut out a little piece of cardboard to put in here just to make sure it's super sturdy and will sit upright like I want it, even with some heavy leaves on top. All right, major update. We have our pot completed so far. I still need to do the dirt on the top, but I wanna sew in the feet and do the eyes and everything first before I seal it off. And I have just started to work on the little feet. And so far I am starting with just kind of a little circle and then I'm gonna make them a little bit longer so they just stick out kind of like the little jellycat feet. I have had some difficulty making them as long as the jellycat feet, so I think they're gonna be a little bit on the stubbier side, but personally I'm all right with that and I still think it's gonna be super cute. So I made it a little longer and I sealed off the end here and now we just have like a little boot here. And then I went ahead and made another. So now we have two little feet and I'm gonna go ahead and sew them on to the front here. And that's kind of what it's gonna look like. And I'm so happy with it so far. We've now added on our little legs and this is how it's looking. I cut out just a little circle out of cardboard and I think if I stick it in here, it makes it nice and round and it sits perfectly upright. Also unrelated, but while I'm doing all this, I'm watching a show on Netflix called Marriage or Mortgage, and it might be the wildest thing I've ever seen. Couples go in and they give a budget and then the realtor tries to convince them to get a house and a wedding planner tries to convince them to have their dream wedding. And they're like literally fighting each other over it and like offering them crazy things so they try and pick whichever one they want. This is insanity. Also, no offense, but I feel like I would definitely pick a house, but maybe that's because I literally can't imagine myself getting married. You should tune in though, because it's kind of very entertaining to watch. And then I've selected these as my eyeballs. I think they're the perfect size for what the jellycats usually are, and it leaves me enough room in the middle for that like blank smile that all the jellycats have, where they're just staring into your soul happily. Now I'm gonna go back around with my brown just to finish off the top and make the dirt color before we put on the plant, which I still need to figure out how to do because I'm kind of scared for that. I finished off my brown, I stuffed it, and then I also took another cardboard circle, and this time I just cut it in half, and then I'm just sliding the pieces in on opposite sides of each other, just so that the top and the bottom will match up and be equally round. And also when I put the leaves on, it's not gonna sink or deform because it's gonna be very nice and solid in its shape. So I think we're basically done with the pot, so time to move on to the leaves. So what I'm thinking at the moment is basically just making a bunch of cones and then trying to go from there and figuring out how to place them. So I'm gonna start small and then just slowly expand it until I get to the size I like. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of just like a figure it out as I go kind of thing, because that's when I do my best work. Totally. Yeah, I totally don't need to pre-plan it at all. It's looking very spiky. Okay, I made my spike and the current vision is I flattened it out and crocheted it shut. So I'm thinking if I make a couple and I go around, I can have them sticking out as opposed to more upwards. I can have them sticking more outwards to make it like a succulent almost. Now we have two and it's looking like some strange little horns, but I'm thinking I'm gonna start making skinnier ones and I'll have them going this direction and then maybe one final section of them going like diagonally just to really make it look full and also realistic for a crocheted plant. Now I have two of, we're gonna say these are the medium size because I'm gonna do a couple more in an even minier one than this. Okay, I love how it's gotten dark over the progression of this video. I'm gonna plug in the light, but we now have two little mini ones that I sealed off, and then I also made a third one and I didn't seal it off, so I can kind of put it in the middle to be that main spike. I'm not sure if I like that, but we're gonna try it out and see how it works. So now it's time to assemble this whole thing and put all the pieces together. Update. What I've done is I've sewn all the little spiky leaves we made together to make kind of these like double-ended pointy things. So then I can stack them into each other to make our succulent-y shape. So I can sew them all together before I sew it on to the pot. So I only have to sew on one big piece, if that makes sense. I'm still torn on the one out the top or if it should also be coming out the side, but I'm gonna sew these three that I sewed together into one big piece first, and then I'll figure out what to do with the bonus one. We've got our first four, I guess, sewn together, 4 or 2. Now we've sewn on the third one and it's beginning to take shape and I'm really happy with it. So now I'm just experimenting with the spiky one and I think it looks kind of cool in the middle. I think I'm gonna stick it in there. Okay, big reveal. There we go. We did the little spike and I'm honestly super happy with how it turned out. It looks very weird from this angle, but from the side, I'm really happy with how it turned out. So final thing is to just sew it on top here and the big reveal. All right, after a very intensive amount of sewing, we are finally done and we have our adorable little plant. Here is our little plant with his little feet. And here it is with the other jellycat, and I think he fits in perfectly. If you made it this far to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the most, and I really appreciate it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe for more videos. Comment down below and tell me other ideas for things I should make, because evidently I run out of ideas very frequently. But yeah, that's all I have for today, unfortunately, but I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya!